Hi guys, we are live once again as we are here to talk about India versus Australia test. As you all know, our mood is slightly down because our team hasn't been performing so well on the ground, and we have accepted the defeat. So here we are to talk about as if India have lost the test match. So let's talk about it in that sense. But as they say, you have to be always optimistic, and I see a 36 all out coming. I can sense it, guys. I sense it. I can smell that 36. It is mark the date. It's March the 3rd, 2023, and the 36 is written all around the stars. If I have to be that optimistic, they say aim for the aim for the stars, you'll at least reach the sky. I'll aim for 36. खुदा ना खास्ता 60 all out हो जाए.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy because the ball is in Australia's court with just 76 runs to go. You would still expect Australia to go ahead and finish it off, but the monkey on Australia's back has been that fourth innings when it comes to Indian conditions, and the fourth innings or the second innings at least has been the biggest issue for them, and that's the reason why there will be some nerves at least. They'll believe that they should win this, and if they don't tomorrow, they'll feel gutted because everything has gone Australia's way. We spoke about how Nathan Lyon has not been really stepping up. He stepped up. He's taken 11 wickets in this test match. We spoke about how Steve Smith's slip fielding did not work out, took a very important catch of Pujara, and that's the reason why India, I think, are 30 runs short. And in a very similar fashion, you would say that Australia's opening pair has looked, at least the opener, Usman Khawaja, has looked really good. So things have gone well for Australia. Even their pace bowling in Mitchell Stark, who was playing with one finger today, did an excellent job. And now you almost wonder what could have been if Mitchell Stark had been playing the first two test matches, because his spell was vital, and obviously Steve Smith's captaincy. So I think everything right now has just gone the Australian way. And that's the reason why, if you look at the sessions pie as well, a lot of it has gone Australia's way.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
Australia
you're
has
right.
won
You're
four
right.
sessions. Four of the six sessions that have been played, I think, has been won by Australia. And one might argue even the first session was a draw in the first session on the first day. So I think ideally they have won 4.5 out of 6. So India haven't had anything going their way. Probably the first session today, as it was expected, Australia were going to score somewhere in between, probably in excess of 200 or close to 200. They eventually managed only 197. 6 wickets fell for 11 runs. Brilliant spell from Umesh Yadav, and I think it was great captaincy from Rohit Sharma to understand the fact that Umesh Yadav, the seamer, will be effective at that point of time. Once again, I felt Mohammad Siraj did not have the right game. Uh, I think they could have probably gone with an extra spinner in the form of Kuldeep Yadav instead of Siraj. But those are some of the calls which are very difficult to make. All in all, I think this is Australia's game to lose. You shouldn't lose a game when you're chasing 76. Like Jedin mentioned, the second innings have been a problem for Australia. But having said that, they have still managed to go on and score at least 100 in both their
Yeah.
innings.
True.
So
True. That
76
makes sense.
will not be a walk in the park, but I expect Australia to come out all guns blazing and attack in the first session. If they try to play throughout the first session and think 76, they'll get it done in the second session. I think that will not be the right approach, because if you try to stay there long enough, you are going to lose your wicket one way or the other.
Hmm.
So I think
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense as well
the
because
strategy should be 76 needed. I mean, one player come in, hit a boundary, get out, no issues. We'll get there.
I mean, that should be the ideal way to look into this match. But then I'm not sure if Australia will be looking at it in that way or how they want to go about it.
I think,
Because I think a
yeah.
good knock of 20 would do the job for them. A good 20-run knock by
Yeah.
anybody will do the job for them. Because I think the game is done and dusted. But if you want to be really optimistic, then I would say, yeah, you're still there with a chance because funny things happen in cricket. We've seen that happen time and time again, and that's one of the reasons why we are slightly optimistic about it as well. But
No, but the
nonetheless, let's talk about Indian
thing, Neville,
batting. I think
is
that's
even though Australia will be feeling the scoreboard pressure and all the second innings drama, everything, they'll be feeling the hit. But so will Team India. They will have to defend a paltry total. They'll have to defend 75 to have their great record at home, like getting carry forward. They have rarely lost a test in India itself. They lost one against England, but the track was completely different. Similar track, I think the last game that they lost in India was to Australia in way back in 2017. So they have a prestigious record in India. So they'll also be feeling the pressure, and the way they have batted in this series in general. Apart from the lower order, if you just consider the top order batsmen, apart from Rohit Sharma's one innings
Yeah.
and probably Pujara today, and I think the fielding from Australia have been brilliant. They have come back really strong. I think Jerin mentioned the catch by Steven Smith at leg slip, getting rid of Pujara, but I think the turning point in this game was Shreyas Iyer's wicket. The way Iyer was playing at that point, if he would have played there, if he would have stayed in the crease for another 15-20 minutes, I
Yeah.
think India would have had a lead in excess of 120 at least, because he was taking the attack on the bowlers. That was a brilliant catch from Khawaja, and I think Khawaja will go on to be the man of the match. Even though Nathan Lyon has picked up 11 wickets, but scoring some 60 odd runs and taking that brilliant catch is basically deciding the complexion of the game.
Yeah, makes sense because Shreyas I was going to be a deciding factor at the end of the day, and that particular catch did really give them that particular opportunity to come back, forcing into the game. And now, if you look in the larger scheme of things, you could say that was a deciding factor as well. But Jen, where do you think India really went wrong in terms of chasing? Because India had a beautiful start with the ball in the morning, picking up 6 wickets for just 20 runs when they had the 30 runs partnership in the first session. You reckon India really lost it in the head once again? They put a lot of pressure on themselves once they saw that 80-run lead by Australia.
For me, I think first of all, credit to Rohit Sharma. When I was watching the match, I felt Cameron Green was looking very comfortable against the spinners. So to change things
Yeah, I have a
around, bring
question for you.
Ashwin
How
in.
did you watch the match? Are you violating the college rules to sneak in electronic devices inside the class?
Well,
And
Abel, I'll be very honest with you. Our college does ban mobile phones, but it doesn't ban laptops. So
that's
around the
nice. Yeah.
loophole, I kept the match going on while on my laptop while I was taking notes. So I hope my parents aren't watching.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Um,
I do as well, Jaren. Because even if our teachers are watching us, because you see the laptop open, it's never what you think it is. So yeah, it's
No, I
good. It's
mean,
good.
you have to also give credit to Bill Gates, or at least whoever is developing Windows 11, because they've come up with the split screen thing. So now you can have one screen match running and the other screen, or at least half of the screen running match and half of the screen running Windows. And I'm very proficient when it comes to shortcuts. So yeah, a little bit here and there, and quick reactions to teachers' moments. I think it works. But yeah, going back to the match. When Cameron Green was looking very comfortable against the likes of Aksar and Jadeja, because he was even Hanscom, and they were going. The front foot was coming out very well, but when Ashwin came into play, Peter Hanscom was not able to read the length properly because of the dip
Mm,
and bounce he was getting, and that's the way he ended up getting out with the
yeah,
ball extra bounce really catching him off guard, and then to bring Umesh Yadav in against Cameron Green was an excellent ploy by Rohit Sharma, because that really threw Cameron Green off. I think no one expected Umesh Yadav to come in there, and him swinging at zero point 0.5, 0.6 degree. That ball really helped and really blew away the Australian batting order. And as I said yesterday, that Australian batting order doesn't go deep, and we saw that happen today. Having said that, I think where India really went wrong, I think it was excellent bowling by
yeah,
Australia. You have to give credit to them. Nathan Lyon was just spot on. Felt again that India were not able to cover their leg stump, and
mm,
again you felt when Nathan Lyon came round the wicket, Indian batters really opened their bodies up,
yeah,
and they never really closed down their leg stump gap, and that's the reason why you saw Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, for instance, getting out on
yeah.
the leg stump, on the leg stump line. And one player I was really impressed with was Shreyas Iyer, and there was an analysis which was done as well, where both Rohit and Virat got stuck on the back foot. But even when the ball was going up, and
I
if the
think
ball was
Virat
staying
played a
low,
very bad shot, but Rohit misjudged the line. Virat could have
yeah, I
easily
mean
played
that's
the
the
ball
point,
anywhere.
right? I
It was
feel
an absolute nothing ball to which Virat got out. I know it did keep
yeah.
low. He played a brilliant shot right before that, and for Virat to play that to the onside and to try to play square to the onside was the wrong thing which he did today. I think Shreyas Iyer right after when he came, I thought what he did was he opened up the V slightly. Actually, you can see he
Exactly
enlarged
my
his
point.
knees.
Yeah. Yeah, he was opening
So
his body up. He was adjusting his back leg, making sure that he has enough room. He was getting the leg out of the way and having
yeah,
enough room to get rid of that leg, and give him that room to get the bat flow through. And that's where I
yeah,
really felt Suresh did well. But then again, brilliant captaincy by Steve Smith to bring in Mitchell Stark. put that thought of short ball at in Shreyas's
Mhm.
back of Shreyas's mind, and then the double bluff that was played by Mitchell Stark to ball
Yeah,
sharp
yeah,
ball into the
yeah,
leg stump,
absolutely.
and that really worked. So the moment that was, and that's where I felt as a captain, Steve Smith was so proactive and didn't allow the 8 ball game to move away from Australia. That's where Pat Cummins, you felt, was a little bit, awaiting miracles to happen. Well, Steve Smith created miracles today.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful way you have mentioned it as well, because Steve Smith, in the way in which he brought Mitchell Stark, and there was a field which was set for the short ball, which made Shreyas Iyer hanging on the back foot. If you look at that ball, it was not an incredible ball. The ball was just full
Yeah.
on the length. It was just full of good length, and he was hanging on the back foot, which meant the weight was on the back foot, and he couldn't actually deliver it front, and the ball went up in the air, and Quaja caught a brilliant catch out there in the short mid on. It was short mid on. I think it was mid wicket, short mid
Mid
wicket,
wicket, yeah.
and that was a brilliant catch there. And but now let's talk about Indian batting in general, right? I thought Pujara's innings was very important for Team India. He really did bat like he wanted to put in his complete mind, soul, everything on that pitch, and he looked in complete control. Never did you ever feel like Pujara was going to get beaten or he was looking uncomfortable. I think that's one thing which I also heard in the post match conference as to how he trusted his defense a lot more in comparison with other batters you can say from Team India. For example, Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, if none of them really were ready to trust their defense. And maybe in pitches like this, it's so important to trust your defense and to put that dead bat time and time again in comparison with playing that glory shot, which might give you 6 runs, but can also be having that risk of costing a wicket.
Yeah, I think the way Shubman Gill got out, I think he'll be very disappointed to start it all. He played a nothing shot. He was playing down the wrong line. He completely missed the line of the ball, and it was not needed. I mean, just after the lunch break, India could have sort of gained a little bit of momentum at that point because trailing by 88, they were trailing by 75 when they went to lunch without having lost a wicket. They could have stitched a partnership. They could have sort of settled down first and then could have gone about their business. But I think he just wanted to take the attack on the bowlers. But first over, trying to catch Nathan Lyon off guard, he did. I think that was a mistake, and I think he'll be very disappointed with the way that he got out. Not so much. I think Rohit Sharma was again trying to defend the ball. I think his defending technique in India has not been the best. He hasn't resorted to defending much. The innings where he got a century, we saw that he was trying to play. He was trying to keep the pressure on the bowlers. He was not trying to defend too much, and I think that is where Rohit Sharma is at his best. And at any moment, if you try to get into a shell in this sort of a pitch, you are going to suffer. And I think that was India's approach. They were trying to attack. They were trying to be aggressive. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen a shot like how Kohli got out, trying to play that right after the ball where he had punched it through the cover drive, punched it through the covers for a four. That was not needed at that point, especially if you remember the first delivery of that over, he was beaten. The ball hit his gloves, and he was just caught back a bit. So I think to go after that, that was a nothing shot. And once again, KS Bharat and the lower order batsmen, you can't really blame them, but you
Yeah,
expect a player of Bharat's quality not to get bamboozled by a delivery like that. He could have
yeah,
at least gone to the line of the delivery. Another player who I think should trust his defense more often is KS Bharat. Of whatever
yeah.
I have seen him do, he tries to take the attack on the bowlers. That's fine, but you have to understand what balls to show
He
respect to
looked
and
he
what
looked
balls to
very
avoid.
confused to me, to be very honest. He was
Yeah,
unsure
he
what he
was
wanted
caught in
to do.
between two minds because at the point when he came into bat, that is why I said
I mean, for
Shreyas
me,
Iyer's
again,
wicket at that
you have
point.
to give credit to that KS Bharat ball, right? You have to give credit to Nathan Lyon as well. It was a setup for sure because what Nathan Lyon was doing again and again to both Bharat and I think the non-strikers end with this Pujara,
Pujara.
and to both of them, what Nathan Lyon was trying to do again and again was to make sure that he keeps hitting the middle and leg, and then to the one ball that KS Bharat he balled to KS Bharat, he made sure that the ball went through with the hand, went straight up, and that's where KS Bharat was beaten. But having said that, you have to question the fact that KS Bharat had shown two of his three stumps when the bowler is bowling around the wicket. I can understand when you're trying to play a white ball format where you want to create a room for yourself, but when you're defending, you try your maximum to at least cover the stumps with your body. and to make sure you're covering the line of the length, line of the ball. But here, it just seemed like Case Bharat got opened up, and it was a very rookie mistake, I would say. Maybe something that you wouldn't expect the likes of a player who doesn't commit straight away to to a defensive shot. That's where you expect a batter, especially in Test cricket, to be aware of natural variations. That's where again I go back to Shreyas Iyer's innings. I know it was not, it was short lived, but against the spin, you saw him adjust to the natural variations of the bowler much quicker than some of the other Indian batters. And maybe that's the reason why you feel he's been so successful in the past 2 to 3 years. Because even Jadeja, for instance, today I was very disappointed. He had a very strong front foot press, and I think when you press so forward and so quickly and you plant your front foot, then if the ball does have the natural variation, like again in this case, Nathan Lyon's ball came with the arm, and again you felt Jadeja got caught napping because he couldn't move his front leg anywhere to navigate the delivery. So I think
I
there
mean,
is an issue.
Jen, I
There's
think
a,
again got to do with India misreading the lengths, right? It has nothing to do
yeah.
with your technique as such. I think these guys can play spin well at the end of the day, and this same technique they've been using to play spin well in some of the most toughest surfaces as well.
And
But
I
I
think
still
Jadeja
think
has had a great
Nathan
record
Lyon,
in
what he
India.
has done well is beat the batters by his length or create the illusion by making the batters think that he's going to ball short with that flatter trajectory, whereby the ball is still going to be full. And that is where I think a lot of batters have fell for that particular ploy by Nathan Lyon, and it's worked brilliantly. Even the Delhi Test match you saw, in Delhi Test match, batters still had a little bit of more time because the pitch was on the slower side in comparison with Indore. But now in a pitch like Indore, which is slightly more quicker because it's a mix of red and black soil, so the ball does come onto the bat pretty quickly in comparison with Delhi, and that's where batters are missing out on that. Batters are being beaten, even if they are going to misjudge the length. They don't have a second option to adjust to it. And Nathan Lyon is actually having the benefit of it. Today was a classic example of how Nathan Lyon actually used that ploy to beat all the Indian batters and picked up 8 wickets against India once again. He already had one of the best figures. I think it was 8 for 50. Now he's
Yeah.
got another 8 for as well. So no, it's just sheer class of
And
Nathan
I
Lyon. I
think
think we have.
I think also Kuhneman. I think Kuhneman was trying to do the same thing, but since that is not his natural length, he was bowling a bit too short. And then Indian players were getting after it. They were waiting in the back foot and they were taking the attack to Kuhneman. But I think he was also trying to replicate what Nathan Lyon was doing from the other end. And I think
Yeah.
that was it. It was a sort of a strategy that they had thought pre-processed before coming into the pitch, because we could see that Nathan Lyon has always tried to be consistent in a particular area wherever he gets the delivery. He really has a plan B, and that is why when you see if you see a batter taking the attack on Nathan Lyon, you won't see a Nathan Lyon having a performance of picking a 5 wicket haul. For it's a rare occasion when he picks up a 5 wicket haul and goes for plenty of runs. He either goes for plenty of runs, picks up 2-3 wickets, or he has a day where he goes on to pick up 6-7 wickets for 60-70 runs.
Yeah.
So I think today was one of those days. He understood the pitch. He understood the pitch perfectly, and he exploited it.
I mean,
And
it's not the
something which
first.
the
We
other bowlers
also
could not
saw
do
in
as
the
well.
first innings, and Nathan Lyon is a nemesis for Team India. He's picked up 115 wickets against India in his career, 50 wickets in India alone. I think that in itself speaks volumes of how India really dread facing him, regardless of the conditions. And he's been such a trickery customer. He's really outfoxed all the kinds of Indian batters throughout his career. He has to only pick up Akshar Patel's wicket in that playing 11. He's picked up all the 10 batters' wicket except Akshar Patel's wicket in his career in Team India. So that in itself is a very good stat to have, isn't it? But now let's talk about the 75, the total which we have. What are the chances by which India can defend it? I think that is $1 million question. We've been talking as if India have lost the match already, but I still think we can give India that 1% of chance, right? As Neymar once said, 99% of faith, 1% chance. And you never know. You never know, man. Because sport is a very funny thing, right? When you think everything is done and dusted, that's why funny things keep happening. If India picks up 3 wickets under 10 runs for Australia, the heat will be on Australia. Because then 65 runs looks like 600 runs for them.
I
I
think
think a
that is
lot of
where
it will
Travis Head is
depend.
going to. I think that is where Travis Head is going to be very important for Australia instead of David Warner. Warner was just trying to occupy the deliveries before getting injured. But if you see Travis Head, if he goes on to face 5 or 6 deliveries, he'll have already 10 runs on the board. So I think that is what Travis said would be given. Instructions would be given to Travis said that you have Khawaja with you, and then there is Marnus Labushane and Steven Smith. So these four players should do the job for Team Australia tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think Travis Head will get the license of coming in and going hard after the bowlers. I won't be surprised if he tries to go after Ashwin. I think Ashwin is going to open the bowling tomorrow, and I think Travis Head is going to take him straight down the ground, or probably
It's going to be
give
interesting to
it a
see
high.
that.
Yeah.
It'll be a very fascinating first session. It can go either way. If Australia lose 3 wickets under 15 runs or 10 runs, then it's going to be very, very interesting to watch that
So
innings
also,
be
when you talk
pitched.
about Australia losing 3 wickets under 15 runs, three of their top four are the best batters in the team. You have Usman Khawaja, Marnus Labuschagne, who has looked a bit iffy, if I might say, and also
Yeah,
Steven Smith, who is also under a lot of pressure when it comes to with the
yeah.
bat, because he has not performed the way the team would have loved him to perform. But there is
Because
Khawaja and there is Travis
we've
Head, who
seen
is
that
going to
happen,
excite a bit.
right? Teams traveling to India, they succumbing under 100. It has happened quite a lot of times in India, and if one team can do it, it's definitely Team India because they will still believe. Chiteshwar Pujara during the post match did say that they still believe 75, though it's a small total, they still can fight for. I'll just give you a classic example of what happened in Nagpur 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was quarterfinal of the Ranji Trophy. It was between who it was between. I think it was Saurashtra versus it was Saurashtra versus Maharashtra. If I'm not wrong, I think Saurashtra played Maharashtra as well, or was it Gujarat? I'm not sure. I think it was Saurashtra versus Saurashtra versus Maharashtra.
Yeah,
The
it was
tag
Vidarbha against Gujarat.
Vidarbha against Gujarat. Correct, correct. Was it? I think it was qualified into the quarterfinals,
Yeah,
or was it quarterfinals?
no, it was the qualifiers. It was the sixth round game, and
It
they
was six
defended
round game. Yeah,
73. Yeah,
it was 72, which was a target for Vidarbha to chase, and then they just balled them out. They just balled them out under
no, I
what
think
50?
Gujarat needed 73 to win, and Vidarbha defended 73.
Exactly.
So
It happened in Nagpur where the first test took place. So these kind of things can only happen in India, right? So that's what I think. It is quite possible if you really think about it. Say if Vidarbha, for example, would have thought, okay, we are just gonna give up at 72, then they would have given up. But then if you really want to fight hard, because the Australian team can collapse like as like a castle of cards. They just can come down heavily as well because this team
and we
hasn't
saw
been
it today. They lost 6 wickets for 11 runs.
exactly my point now. Now, if you lose 4 wickets under 20, I'm just giving you a scenario, guys. Just hold on your cards. 4 wickets under 20, 5 wickets under 40. Then all of a sudden, 6 for 40 looks like a total where Australia will be really feeling the heat. Now, I'm
See,
just
if
giving you a
India
scenario.
can, I'll also give you another scenario. If India can anyway have Usman Khawaja, Marnus Labuschagne, and Steven Smith within the
Yeah.
first 25 to 30 runs, I think that will give India a good enough chance to go and win it. Because I think the majority of the scoring will have to be done by the top four. Because we have seen Alex Carey has struggled, Cameron Green playing his first game in this tour, and also Peter Hanscom has looked a bit iffy if you can get him early on before he gets settled. So I think the trump card lies with the opening bowlers, with Ashwin and Jadeja. They'll have to put in the breakthroughs early in the morning, and that is
Hmm.
possible. Like we said yesterday, that the most wickets will fall in the first session. I mean, the
Yeah,
team just goes in. They don't want to, like, they want to first settle themselves down, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
suddenly one wicket and you have a collapse. So
Absolutely.
Australia
And the
will
good
have to be
part
careful.
is India will be bowling the new ball, right? And you never
Yeah.
know. Anything can happen to the new ball. One can keep low. A couple of them can keep low. And all of a sudden, it's going to be a very fascinating test match. See, guys, I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, say, it's going to be an easy walk in the park for Australia. But then just look at the conditions. It's not the easiest track to bat. And look at the
Yeah.
opposition against which Australia are going to chase that total down. 75 looks like a very mere target on any other ground. But against Ashwin Jadeja and Akshar Patel on that ground in Indore, and considering the fact that Australia are now having that particular phase where they lose cluster of wickets, you never know. Anything is possible, man. If they lose 7 wickets under 50,
But Abel, if Akshar Patel will have to be given the ball, I think India have already lost the game, because I don't think they'll be moving, giving the
I'd
most I
rather
can
have
see is
Akshar
Umesh
Patel
Yadav
opening the
trying
bowling tomorrow instead of Ashwin, because Ashwin, and what I've seen is he takes a little bit of time to get set,
to.
and that's
Yeah,
something which is
exactly.
going to go
That is
against
that is a
India.
very good point. That is a very good point. But
So
then he'll have Travis Head. So Akshar
yeah,
Patel bowling.
I don't
For
think.
me, I
See, if
believe so. The way I think India should go, and I'll be a little I think I'll go a little off track here, but I feel give throw the ball to Umesh Yadav. I still believe Australia will be expecting Ashwin and Jadeja to open the innings. Throw the ball to Umesh Yadav, and maybe they might just have that the ghost from the past kind of a moment where they feel unexpected. They would be hoping, for example, tomorrow Travis Head would be sitting right now in his hotel room thinking, I'm going to be stepping out against Ashwin. But
Yeah.
what happens when Umesh Yadav comes in with a new ball? That is something that they're
Yeah,
not
maybe one
expecting.
end you can ball Umesh
And
Yadav, another end you can ball
and
Jadeja.
yeah,
That's maybe the
exactly.
way to
And
do
maybe
it.
another end, maybe go try and ball in Ashwin or a Jadeja. I still believe, for me, Ashwin is the key here with the new ball. I know he's not done well in the past two innings, but probably in terms of your spinners, in terms of your three spinners that you have, Ashwin is probably the best new ball bowler. I still
Absolutely.
believe in terms of new ball, what Ashwin brings to table is his drift with the new ball is just extremely good. We've seen that
Yeah.
even in England when the ball is I wouldn't say he gets the new ball as fresh a new ball as he gets in India, but even when he balls in England, if the ball is 22 overs old, he gets the drift in, and that's the reason why, for example, someone like Alistair Cook struggled against him. So having two left-handers, maybe throw the ball to Umesh Yadav and Ashwin, and ask Ashwin and Umesh Yadav to get something done, because I think Umesh Yadav will be the key here, because no one will be expecting him to go out there and
Absolutely.
ball in the
And
first
also,
over.
I think talking about Umesh Yadav, Abel spoke about Nathan Lyon's superiority against India, having picked up around 23% of his career wickets against India. Umesh Yadav has picked up around 30% of his career test wickets against Australia. So he is another player that loves to play against Australia, and we saw today just ball
Yeah.
into the stumps, keep it straight, keep it simple, and I think things will get done for you, because Australia will definitely not expect India to come up and open the bowling with Umesh Yadav having only 75 runs on the board.
हाँ भाई गड्ढे तो बना रहे हैं इंडिया में तो पिछले कुछ 8 सालों से और we've seen it at times it just backfires or sometimes it just works in India's favor. But on that note, I think we'll come to an end of this particular live session. We will join you once we get the result
I
tomorrow.
think
Once
someone's
again,
alarm
the
is
game is
going
going
on
to
in the
end at 7.
background.
Sorry,
I think someone is supposed to wake up at this time.
who is this?
It's not
I think
mine.
it's
Who is
yours,
supposed to wake up, guys?
not
Who's
mine
the one?
either.
Not mine. Not mine. Yeah.
I think it's
So
time we wake up to reality and expect India might not win their third test match tomorrow. Maybe that's what the alarm
absolutely,
is.
maybe that's wake
Yeah,
up
yeah.
call, wakey, wakey. Either way,
No,
thank you
I
guys for
think,
joining.
yeah, I
Thank you
think I
guys for
think
joining.
Australia are going to win it by 6-7 wickets.
Yeah, maybe that's the
Honestly,
ideal
yeah.
scenario. But if you want to be optimistic, you can think about 36. If 36 is possible, definitely then 36, 39, 40, anything around that is also
I would
possible.
be okay with a 49 as well. I
Yeah,
won't
good enough.
complain.
I'd be okay with one run as long as it's a win, guys. Just let's just take it and be happy. Thank you guys and have a good night, all of you. We'll be back tomorrow after
Yeah.
whosoever wins. And see you all tomorrow. Hope maybe happy. Maybe we'll analyze this a
Also, we'll
lot more.
probably have a preview of the women's IPL, because that's
Yeah, we will
coming up.
Absolutely.
we will
Yeah.
do that. We will do that, and we'll also have a review of the El Clasico, which will take place tonight between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and let's see how things go from there on. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Good night.
Well,